Awakening on a spiritual level is not a subtle process, a gentle zephyr or a tranquil dawn. It represents an earthquake represents a quiet yet profound collapse that originates from within and dismantles all that exists. You previously referred to as truth you do not navigate smoothly. Into awakening, you are forcibly extracted from the. Envision a day when you find yourself effortlessly gliding through the ether. In light of the prevailing circumstances of the world and subsequently, you find yourself breathless, standing still, motionless as the world persists around you. Initially, one might perceive that something is. What is amiss with you? Why does the world seem such overwhelming noise, so insincere, so detached? What is the reason behind this? The objects of your former affection now evoke. Why do those who are nearest to you feel so empty? The distance feels so great that the moment seems absent. Madness, it signifies the emergence of consciousness, as Carl Jung once articulated. The greatest opportunity in life is to realize one's true self. You genuinely becoming who you are entails, disassembling the facade of your identity, permitting the borrowed, false identities. Convictions and ingrained roles are deeply entrenched. The blaze of veracity, and yet no one is adequately equipped. Thank you for that intense experience. It is seldom that one is forewarned about such matters. Enlightenment. True awakening transcends mere lightness and bliss, an everlasting tranquility, yet instead the utmost, the most unvarnished form of truth you will ever experience. It involves confronting each falsehood. You have repeatedly assured yourself that every injury you have, concealed within every accomplishment, the uncertainty you concealed within, the execution and the reality that visibility exists, disorienting. It resembles traversing through the residence you have occupied for an extended period and unexpectedly coming to the awareness that each space is occupied, utilizing the furnishings of another individual, the thoughts of others, the recollections of another. The furniture must be repositioned in relation to the walls, repainted, and at last you are compelled to make a decision. What is appropriate and what is not? Reconstruction proves to be a taxing endeavor due to its inherent complexities, necessitates an encounter with your own self for the first occasion, and to acknowledge that you have never. Indeed, there is a lack of genuine understanding regarding the identity in question, completely, and that reality can resonate as. However, within that act of betrayal lies. Additionally, emancipation transcends the facade you present, never existed, and what lies beneath the mask evokes a sense of terror solely due to its inherent qualities. Liberation and autonomy when one has experienced. Chains evoke a sensation akin to death prior to experiencing, akin to a renaissance. The initial shadowy aspect of spiritual awakening manifests as a state of confusion rather than clarity, an ephemeral state of bewilderment that dissipates, following a restorative night of slumber. Yet the discomfort persists in the bone, profound and unsettling confusion that deconstructs the framework of all that exists. You believe to be genuine, it is revered. Disorientation is neither an error nor a obstacle yet the commencement of your internal compass whirls unrestrainedly, and the significant features of your inner and the external realm disintegrates piece by piece. You arise and find yourself unacquainted with your own reflections. The principles you previously cherished commence to evoke a sense of unfamiliarity. The dialogues you once found pleasure in now feels devoid of substance. The profession you immersed yourself in, the spiritual convictions that previously inspired you now perceive yourself as somewhat antiquated, garments that have become ill-fitting. This is not. Regression is not merely a breakdown. It is a removing layers in the context of Jungian theory. This represents the emergence of the self advancing, in opposition to the fragile barriers of identity. You have transcended your previous mental state. At ease within the capacities you assumed, is currently in a state of upheaval. It seeks veracity, requires genuineness, and that requirement is intensely. Your dreams take on a more vivid quality, imbued with meanings that remain elusive to you. Comprehend the emergence of synchronicities as they commence to unfold. Overwhelm your existence. Yet instead of solace, they disturb you. They serve as a reminder. The cosmos observes and attunes itself to our existence, engaging in discourse, and you find yourself uncertain. It seems as though your existence is no longer under your sole possession, as though you are being compelled by an invisible influence akin to a marionette whose threads are presently being guided by the essence rather than the self-interest, and the ego exhibits resistance. It succumbs to panic and clutches tightly for assurance, for regularity, for all matters that has the potential to reinstate the semblance of authority. However, control is the initial victim of the emergence, and in its stead, you find yourself abandoned with silence, not a tranquil nature, but rather an overwhelming sort of quiet that resonances that compel you to listen to your own internal turmoil. You may attempt to suppress it, engage in it, conceal it beneath a veil of diversions, yet nothing remains effective for an extended period. As the self begins to awaken, there is no turning back. It seeks your entirety. It desires you completely. It is truthful, and it will incinerate all within. Its trajectory continues until you cease to oppose and begin. As you engage in attentive listening, it becomes apparent that confusion does not signify defeat, but rather an essential cleansing akin to a fever that incinerates. Consume the affliction with an intensity akin to a raging inferno. Removes decayed timber from the woodland. Confusion represents the realm in which you're previous. The dissolution of identity paves the way for the emergence of your authentic self to establish itself. And within that realm, however, it may seem as though you are adrift. In reality, you are not. The process of renewal, the subsequent shadow aspect of awakening, represents a form of disconnection, not the superficial isolation of a missed call or a vacant weekend, yet a profound detachment from all that surrounds and all those you previously regarded as familiar. It commences in a nuanced manner. You discover yourself refraining from engaging in discussions that previously experienced a vibrant atmosphere reminiscent of the theater. Gather around tables brimming with mirth and narratives, yet an inner sensation stirs within you. Distant and unblemished, the subjects resonate. The viewpoints appear to be premeditated and lacking in authenticity. The connection that once felt effortless, it now appears contrived. This is not a matter of arrogance. Rather, it is something else entirely. Neither resentment nor despondency. It is simply awareness reveals what often eludes perception. Barriers you are perceiving, the silent apprehension underneath the language. One observes the manner in which individuals evade their own stillness through occupying each instant with sound. It is impossible to overlook it now. The pretense can no longer be maintained. Thus, one finds oneself withdrawing not due to assessment, yet driven by necessity. Self-preservation arises from the essence of your being, commences to articulate the magnitude of existence, transforms into an intolerable state, fostering a deep yearning for solitude. The manner in which an individual submerged in water yearns for oxygen. However, within that solitude, one experiences the profound ache of the lack of belonging, the lack of comprehension regarding the lack of. The experience of genuine recognition presents a fascinating contradiction. An awakening occurs as you deepen your connection to existence, yet experience a greater sense of disconnection from the world reveals the sacred in all things, yet find yourself unable to articulate it to others. You experience an affection for humankind, yet a challenge to exist. This isolation is experienced even in the presence of others. Crucible, it is the untamed expanse that removes your desire to be part of a group that fails to comprehend your language. It is within this revered, the solitude in which the seeds of your the tribe commences to emerge, albeit not with haste. Effortlessly, yet naturally, you start to draw in individuals who perceive with the identical eyes that engage in attentive listening. Profound individuals who do not request you to diminish and until that time, you acquire the knowledge to embrace your solitude. It is a valuable opportunity for personal growth. To embrace the stillness and allow it to impart wisdom. Silence, when revered, transforms into a refuge, and within that refuge you commence the process of recollecting that disconnection is not. Exile represents a form of redirection. It embodies a distinct path forward. The essence embarks upon a journey when it can no longer inhale the spaces you previously designated. In the solitude of home, the pangs of loneliness resonate deeply. It also initiates a process that creates space for a novel, a connection that is fundamentally grounded in essence. Not roles, but rather a creation rooted in authenticity. A sense of familiarity that does not impose any demands. Clarification, yet provides existence in that. A connection of this nature is indeed deserving of patience, as it transcends mere occupancy of the space. It pays tribute to the third shadowy aspect of awakening is a profound suffering, not merely a superficial discomfort, not the ephemeral pang of rejection or the pain of an unfulfilled commitment, yet the unrefined, intense existential anguish of being stripped bare unfolds from within. This anguish does not arise from an error occurring. It originates from the inception of all things. To attain correctness is to encounter a paradox, as your essence harmonizes with veracity in every moment. Aspects of your existence that remain outside, the resonance begins to fracture. Relationships founded on artifice commence to the position sought from. Insecurity starts to stifle aspirations. Ideas appropriated from others start to fade away, and it pains not due to any genuine yours, yet due to the manner in which you enveloped the essence of identity surrounding them. The sensation of losing them evokes profound emotions, akin to a profound disconnection, yet that absence is grace concealed. Suffering embodies the essence of the spirit. Scalpel, it excises that which cannot accompany you into the subsequent chapter, and although it results in profound injury, yet it also results in pure, alert, unadorned, vibrant. One commences to experience emotions that you have contemplated for decades, eschewing the sorrow you concealed within, the shame you have dulled with busyness, affirmation of the solitude you concealed with ambition. Everything ultimately circles back to impose consequences upon you, yet ultimately to attain recognition. Perceived to be, Carl Jung stated, there is no arrival at awareness devoid of suffering. And now you comprehend that the process of awakening is not merely about transcending suffering. It is regarding the process of acclimating oneself to exist within it without, to experience it without retreating, observe it without aligning oneself with it. You come to understand that the injury is not the adversary, it serves as the portal and traversing. Through it necessitates all that you possess. The virtue of patience, the grace of humility, the integrity of honesty. This discomfort seeks not merely to, it seeks to be transformed. This desire must be acknowledged. Is a profound endeavor of the enlightened spirit to transform suffering into understanding. Gather the fragmented remnants of your past, the self, and shape it into something. The entirety of Psalm, Everything sacred becomes apparent as you start to perceive. Your tears do not signify weakness. Are saltwater baptisms a practice you begin to explore? Comprehend that your quivering is not it serves as a testament to the condition of your heart, no longer devoid of sensation, that you are aware of the entirety of human experience, and that vitality, though it may bring discomfort, is revered. The discomfort heightens your awareness. Perceive the world with greater clarity now. The allure found within the smile of an unfamiliar face, a poignant tragedy. Amidst the throngs of a bustling thoroughfare, a concealed yearning persists. In every dialogue, one perceives the shared suffering of humanity as though it were your own, as it signifies a profound realization. Deconstructs the facade of division. One starts to grasp the nature of one's suffering is not isolated. It embodies archetypal qualities. It is the anguish of generations, the legacy endured, the unarticulated wounds of your heritage, the overlooked trauma of your culture, lamentations of the shared psyche. And when you experience it, you are not merely. The process of self-healing is underway. This represents the weight carried by those who have attained enlightenment, an emotional capacity that extends beyond personal burdens, grief, and yet to persist in the choice of love. Opt to manifest, to continue opting to reveal, persisting despite the pain, particularly in those moments when it is most challenging, causes pain, as it signifies the awakened individual, not the lack of. The experience of suffering coupled with the capacity to endure it. With elegance, you commence to present your suffering. To a higher purpose you compose, you illustrate. You vocalize, you articulate, not as a means of evasion. Injured, yet compelled to articulate it, to shape it into existence, to pay tribute to its significance. This is what it entails, transforming into a conduit, a connection, You are no longer merely a transmitter, an individual traversing the complexities of existence. You embody a spirit, manifesting veracity, and that manifestation is not a simple endeavor. It necessitates a continual process of relinquishment, an incessant attentiveness, an unending yearning to what constitutes falsehood in order for truth to emerge, exist, and in that journey, suffering transforms into. Your instructor no longer holds sway over you. It cultivates your character. It no longer oppresses. It shapes you, and what it shapes is significant. Your essence is not devoid. It is sacred. It embodies a realm in which empathy can thrive. Insight can take hold where affection can flourish. This represents the intricate transformation of suffering, not to circumvent it, yet to engage with it completely, to allow. It encourages you to allow it to reshape your being from within, and as you proceed. Amidst the flames, one ceases to inquire, when will this come to a conclusion? And commence inquiring, what is this imparting knowledge to me? That transition represents the inception of your expertise, not expertise, surpassing not others, but rather your own limitations. One's personal suffering is integral to one's transformation, for it is through this process that growth occurs. You have come to the understanding that this trajectory was never intended to be devoid of discomfort. It was intended to be cleansing, and within that cleansing, an ancient force stirs, something profound, perpetual, something indestructible, the essence. And that self, though forged in the crucible of fire, exudes a subtle resilience characteristic of an individual who has experienced numerous deaths and yet continues to choose. Reignite affection, the fourth shadow aspect of awakening, represents the profound disintegration of existence, not the lyrical variety one encounters in spiritual literature of a profound and transformative nature. The foundation beneath you is removed, leaving you suspended in an abyss where nothing does not even evoke the inclination for. The essence of existence reveals itself. One day, you awaken, and the inquiries assail you with the force of a surging tide. Who am I in essence? What purpose do I serve? What is the nature of existence? All of this is not without purpose. Curiosities manifest as expressions emerging from the innermost essence of your existence laments that. Seek responses not from a sage or a text, yet from the quiet, daunting expanse as you survey your existence and experience a sense of alienation within the narrative of your own existence. The roles you assumed as a child and as a parent. The professional part. The ship has unexpectedly shifted in dynamics. Attire in a theatrical performance you have yet to participate in an audition for you. Scrutinize each choice, each sense of self, every belief you have ever acquired, not due to their error, but rather because they remained unexamined. And the process of awakening necessitates assessment. It requires that you illuminate every facet of your mind and inquire, is this truly my essence? Furthermore, frequently, the response is negative. This constitutes the exploring the profound dissolution of the sacred, represents the demise of the fabricated identity, and, as with all fatalities, the process is inherently chaotic. It is perplexing. However, it also carries a certain weight of significance. Essential, as it is only within the remnants of who you are can reveal the essence of who you are commencing to ascend. This phase is where numerous individuals retreat, clinging to the familiar, assurances they endeavor to reconnect themselves to identities that have ceased to exist. However, one cannot revert once the journey has commenced. Once you have perceived the illusion, it becomes an indelible part of your understanding. The process of unraveling persists, regardless of your resistance, whether one accepts it or not. The sole path forward is to relinquish the desire for understanding, to relinquish the illusion that you are expected to possess complete understanding. Jung frequently articulated the tumult at the process that comes before individuation. Achieving completeness, he understood that prior to you, one must embrace their fractured nature to achieve completeness. That state of fragmentation, you must discover the fortitude to persist in remaining seated in embracing the uncertainty of existence while navigating the inquiries without. Seeking clarity. This is not an action. It is belief, a belief in the profound. The intellect of the spirit trust in the gradual emergence of your own development. You acquire knowledge. To have faith in the methodology, even when it proves challenging. It is essential to cultivate a mindset that remains receptive, even in the face of confusion. When one seeks to disengage, one acquires the ability to do so, to yield, despite the overwhelming urge within you, to fortify, as one starts to perceive that the unraveling is not synonymous with destruction. It is. Revelation signifies the unearthing of all layers. That does not represent you, and what persists is not. It is a hallowed realm, a domain where a novel entity may emerge, something tangible, something steadfast, something that existed, perpetually present, lurking beneath the clamor. Your authentic essence, your everlasting essence, an essence that transcends nomenclature or designation. For a reason, it exists as it is, and within that existence, as you embark on the journey towards self-discovery, you will gradually uncover a sense of tranquility, the tranquility that accompanies possessing all the solutions, yet the tranquility that comes from no longer requiring them. The fifth and ultimate shadow aspect of awakening is spiritual arrogance. The most significant, the alluring and nuanced shadow of everything, enters subtly, akin to a hushed murmur adorned, in the pursuit of wisdom, following all the fervent trials. As you mourn the fading, a deeper understanding of yourself begins to emerge. Commence the journey of knowing, you start to grasp the essence, truths that were concealed from your awareness. My whole existence has been profoundly fulfilling, and it evokes a sense of transcendence. However, one must consider the inherent risks associated with the ego. It does not perish upon your awakening, rather undergoes evolution. It adorns itself in ceremonial garments. It articulates profound phrases, acquires the ability to reference Rumi and Jung, and the Bhagavad Gita teaches the art of smiling, calmly observing while discreetly evaluating those who remain in slumber. It ceases, seeking validation, yet starts to desire acknowledgement as an individual who has transcended, desires anything, and, if you are not, exercise caution, as you may find yourself convinced that you have surpassed the self when, in reality, you have simply veiled it in. This represents the ultimate examination of an emergence of genuine humility, devoid of any performative aspects. Genuine humility, not mere pretense, but an intrinsic quality, profound yielding to the enigma of existence, recognizing that all understanding is inherently limited, that the further one delves, the more one realizes the extent of their ignorance. Awakening is not a destination, but a continuous journey. An interminable staircase beckons you to commence your ascent. Come to understand that the cosmos is not indebted. Your enlightenment is reflected in your insights, although aesthetically pleasing, are not superior to the silence of another individual, which shapes your journey. While the sacred holds significance, it does not imply superiority over others. Emerges in their own era, some via experiencing hardship, yet finding solace in grace, via scientific inquiry, and others through unwavering commitment. And none of them are incorrect. When you genuinely rouse you will find that the necessity dissipates. To inspire others, you personify illumination. Rather than delivering a sermon, you engage in service. Rather than preserving, you engage in listening more than. Your speech is a reflection of your acquired knowledge. At times, excruciatingly, that uninvited wisdom can be perceived as a nuanced mechanism of influence. Control stands in stark opposition to awakening. Thus you relinquish the necessity to exist as. Indeed, one relinquishes the yearning to exist. Unique, you cease your efforts to become the beacon and instead transform into the serene, an area that accommodates the presence of others to discover their own path. You cease to require captivate, the transcendent, and commence your existence as if the divine permeates all aspects of existence, including the elements that provoke your irritation, also evoke a sense of fear within you, or activate your injuries, encompassing the individuals who have yet to comprehend this, including the aspects of your being that remain. Struggle, this represents the essence of genuine spirituality. Maturity manifests as an absence of perfection, enduring, tranquilly accompanied by profound empathy. Empathy that refrains from seeking solutions. Considerate and unhurried empathy that comprehends the burdens each individual bears. An unseen phenomenon that permeates the experience of all individuals. An odyssey that remains obscured. And at times those who appear most distant from enlightenment are the individuals whose spirits are engaged in the most profound efforts occurring in the background. Commence to regard us with deep respect, not due to their correctness, rather than for any other reason. One starts to recognize their own humanity. Similarly, and in undertaking this action, you dispel the ultimate deception that awakening enhances one's potential. However, it does not guarantee improvement, encourages honesty, and fosters a gentle disposition, enables you to perceive. And when you genuinely perceive, you must not regard anyone with disdain for you. You find a reflection of yourself within them. You acknowledge your previous iterations continue to grapple with challenges yourselves, and you yield. You yield to the chaos. You submit to the enigma. You submit to the. It is indeed a remarkable phenomenon that any individual manages to awaken at all in a world constructed to maintain their slumber. And this is where the journey reaches its conclusion. Circle you re-enter the realm not elevated. It is not beyond it, but rather within it. You return with a fresh perspective, yet the same essence. An active heart, a heart that has been ruptured and imbued with substance. A silent essence, an unwavering calm, an enduring affection that demands nothing and welcomes. There is no longer a necessity for you to demonstrate anything. You have awakened. Your existence attests to this reality. Your existence is evidenced by the manner in which you inhale and exhale. Through discord, the manner in which you articulate when no one seems to be paying attention to the manner in which you're seated. Individuals experiencing suffering without the necessity for resolution. The manner in which you express joy and sorrow. The manner in which you create an environment for your own well-being and hers that represents the genuine outcome of awakening, not enlightenment, not the essence of superiority intertwined with a profound connection to reality. An intimacy profound, unrefined, and hushed that it transpires, contagious, and therein lies the irony. Those who have attained enlightenment should refrain from attempting to awaken others. Individuals exist in a manner that individuals inevitably experience a sense of security, sufficient to stir within their vicinity. Therefore, if you have successfully navigated to this point in the bewilderment, the estrangement, the anguish, the process of unraveling, and the accompanying humility, then you are undergoing an initiation process, and it is not broken. Each scar you bear is a testament to your journey. It is important to remember that the decision to observe was yours. It was simpler to maintain ignorance. You made that choice. Experience when it was more prudent to stay indifferent. You opted to embrace existence during a time of greater simplicity, to merely endure in that decision that the choice is both awe-inspiring and daunting. What distinguishes you as not merely awakened, but the awakening continues to unfold, continuing to explore and uncover further insights. It is an unceasing journey. For the instant one embraces belief, you have reached a destination, and your progression has ceased. Maintain a gentle disposition. Nurture your inquisitiveness, and remain anchored in reality, the enigma, and allow your existence to transcend mere words can serve as the subtle transformation that initiates, transforming suffering into wisdom. Division into the convergence and realization of